Alright, so I wanted to talk to you about the selection tools. So these top three right here are your selection tools. Crop tool can also be kind of like a selection tool as well because you frame your image with that. But the main ones here are your rectangle and elliptical marquee, your lasso and your polygon lasso, and your object selection, quick selection, and your magic wand. I'm going to start off with the marquees. Marquees are very useful for selecting objects. Let's say you needed to use this elliptical marquee to select something that's circular. So as I drag out my marquee, I want to make sure that I don't let go of my mouse button and I hold my space bar to move that marquee around. This will allow you to line up an edge onto something that you need. And then I let go of my space bar without letting go of my mouse, and I can still expand or contract that shape. All right, and that works the same way with the rectangle marquee. So again, I click and I don't let go of my mouse button, but I hold my space bar, allows me to move it around, and then I let go of my space bar, and then I can still contract and expand that until I let go, and then it solidifies it and makes it into a marquee. All right, the next tool would be my polygon and my lasso tool. My lasso tool is the one that I want to use. All right, so my lasso and my polygon. Lasso is for freehand shapes, so if you have a really steady hand, you can probably trace something like this and you get a pretty good shape around it. I use the lasso tool mainly for removing or adding to an already set up marquee or already set up selection. So in terms of using my select menu, this is the one that I go to first. I use my select and then I go to subject and I allow it to select it, and it always leaves a few things. It doesn't always get everything. So this is where I use my lasso. So I click on my lasso. I either hold down my shift or my alt and option to subtract or add to it. So I'm going to add to this. So I go like that and add to the fingers. Over here in the hat, I'm going to hold down my option key to select and delete some of these. And it depends on how steady your hand is. I'm going kind of quick right now, but if you wanted to take the time to make sure that everything was perfect, you could. And again, just you're taking away things that it messed up on or that you want to fix. And that's pretty much how I use the lasso. Again, option to delete. So you can always tell which one you're using, because if you look at my lasso, I have a minus sign, that means I'm subtracting. A plus sign means I'm adding to it. All right, so shift, option, or alt, shift. All right. And again, I usually start off with my select menu, and then go down to subject and allow it to select the subject, and it allows me to get things like this. So I took the person out of the background and put him on his own space. All right, so something like this. I would probably start off again with my select menu, subject. I select my subject and it gets a pretty good job. It didn't get any of the shadows, but I think that's pretty good either way. And then I go down to my mask button right here and I can just mask that out so I have a background, or I can right click on it and say layer via cut or copy depending on what I want. I usually do copy, and then now I have a shoe without a background on it, which is nice. And again on this one, so I can go, so this one maybe I just want to select his head, so I click on my object selection tool right here, and I'm just gonna draw a box around his head and it just gets his head. All right, or if I draw it around his hand, let's just get his hand. All right, so that's a good way to use your object selection tool. Again, if I wanted to get the whole thing, there's a few things that I could do. I could either use my magic wand, and you use your magic wand whenever you have a solid color. So this background is pretty much the same color. So if I select it with my magic wand, it selects pretty much everything. I can hold down shift over here to get over in that corner. And although I selected the background, I can use this to select my actual subject by just right clicking and say select inverse. So I selected the opposite this time, and now I just got rid of the background. So that's another trick you can do. Select inverse is very useful, or select similar. Let's go back to that cloud. So I selected this blue, and let's select the white here, and I want to say select similar, and I can select all the other white areas on the page so that are that same color. Let's try with the blue. Select, I right clicked and say select similar, and then I get all the other blue areas. So that's a really nice tool to use, those that right click, the similar, the inverse, and use that in conjunction with your magic wand tool. All right, so I hope that's helpful. You really need to spend time learning how to select things and using your marquees, your wand, your lassos. If you're using the polygon lasso, this is a point by point thing. So I click, I click, I click. It's point by point. So it gives me this polygonal shape, but it's really good for fine tuning. If you're really doing a nice smooth smooth selections, the last tool that I would use would be my pen tool down here. And this is really it's a path tool, but it can also be used as a selection tool. So this is using Bezier curves to make selections, and it's really good for doing curves and stuff. So I'm just going to click away, and then once I do this, I can say make selection from that, and I can make a selection from that. So it's another way to use the pen tool as a selection tool. Really good for doing curves and smooth edges. I use it a lot of times when I'm doing when I have to take a person or a face out of its background. I use that pen tool. It's a real nice tool for that. All right, so I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please email me and I can help you. Or if you're trying to use the selection tool and it didn't quite work out, a lot of times it's trial and error. So don't be discouraged. Just try another tool. All right. This is just a little note that I'm adding into the end of the video. I did not talk about the quick selection tool. So the magic wand is for one color. So this cloud obviously has more than one color in it. So to select it, what I want to do is I want to use my quick selection, which allows me to select contiguous pixels. So I start with the one color, and any new color that I select, it adds to what I'm selecting, and then it tries to find the shape. Find the contrasting edge. So it could find that blue edge and see that it's contrasting, so it doesn't add to it. If I were to go into that blue, now it adds that to what I'm selecting. So you want to use your quick selection for anything that has multiple colors or tones, and you want to use your magic wand for single colors, and then you can use your right click for inverse and grow and similar and stuff like that. All right, so I just wanted to add that in there. I forgot to talk about the quick selection. All right, so one of the things that you might have to do is a lot of nature shots, and one of the things that I always did, I used to work for Sandals and Beaches, is I used to have to get rid of skies and water. So Photoshop has made that really simple. We go up to here to select, we go down to sky, and it tries to select the sky the best it can. You can see in here it messed up a little bit. Again, when we have things like we don't want, we just hold down our option tool and our lasso, and we just remove those. So I'm just going to remove those real quick. And depending on how good you are, I'm on my mouse is very sensitive, and I'm on a weird countertop right now, so I can't get rid of everything. But we do that, and then the next thing we do is we go over here to edit, and we go to sky replacement. And this is really cool. It'll do a preview here if you can see the different skies, but there's different ones in here. Let's add in something like this. Give it a nice sky. And you can change shift the edge, fade the edge, and other things in here. You can play with those, see how you like it. Scale how close up it is, how far away it is. And then you can change the sky pretty simple.